Good morning. I'm Harvey Stenger, president of Binghamton University. Let's give the Dorothy Cotton Jubilee Singers a big round of applause. I'm sure this is going to be a very emotional day, so take out the tissues if you got them. I want to welcome you to the Binghamton University Downtown Center for the unveiling of the Harriet Tubman statue, the capstone piece of the Downtown Binghamton Freedom Trail. This project would not be possible without the help and support of so many people, many of them who are here with us today to celebrate. Thank you for being here to play a significant part in this tribute to Binghamton's history. Unfortunately, Governor Hochul can't be here in person today, but the governor has long been a supporter of this project, and she provided the funds to make it possible. She did record a video for us today, and if all is working and Terry is here, we can play it.
Over 160 years have passed since Harriet Tubman guided enslaved people to freedom along the Underground Railroad. She risked her life time and time again so others could be free. When I first learned her story as a young girl, I was struck by her extraordinary courage and unwavering determination. How, despite overwhelming odds, this one remarkable woman never abandoned the fight for liberation and forever changed the course of history. Binghamton's new Freedom Trail and the beautiful statue being unveiled today stand as powerful tributes to her life and enduring legacy. I'm so proud to have secured a $400,000 grant to make this inspiring project a reality, and to further ensure that Harriet Tubman's vital work across our state is preserved. Back in January, I announced plans to erect her statue in Washington, D.C.'s National Statuary Hall. Binghamton's rich history in the Underground Railroad movement is a profound source of pride for our state. I hope this new statue and the Freedom Trail project will inspire New Yorkers to keep Harriet Tubman's legacy alive in our hearts and in our actions. Thank you to Director Ann Bailey, Associate Director Sharon Bryant, and to everyone who made this spectacular day possible. I can't wait to join you in person and see the statue for myself.
Thank you, Governor Hochul. I'd like to recognize the people that are with us today. Some of them will be speaking, but first let me just introduce them, and then I will get to their speaking order in a minute. Professor Ann Bailey, Director of the Tubman Center for Freedom and Equity. Ann, you did it. And her partner the whole way through, Associate Dean Sharon Bryant, Associate Director of the Tubman Center. SUNY Chancellor John King. Secretary of State Walter Mosley, who's also chair of the New York State Commission on African American History and is here today on behalf of Governor Hochul. State Senator Leah Webb. Assemblywoman Donna Lepardo, Mayor Jared Cram, and the person you might not recognize because she's not from here, but she is a part of our history now, Zoe Dufour, our sculptor. Today's speakers are going to touch on many topics related to Harriet Tubman, the Underground Railroad, and Binghamton's history as a center of freedom and equity in our state. There's one factor of this project that's very important to me. Having this sculpture and the Freedom Trail be public and accessible is a vital part of it. The university has faculty, staff, and students in downtown Binghamton in this building, and we're proud to be stewards of this beautiful and meaningful sculpture. I hope that the local school children and their teachers can make use of the Freedom Trail as a learning tool and an example that history happened in their backyard. I also hope that visitors to the city for concerts, events, and maybe even the state basketball tournament that's here today choose to take a look around and expand their understanding of our history while they are in our town. In addition to this being a monument to Binghamton's history on the path to freedom and civil rights for all Americans, I hope we see this statue and this trail as a symbol of what we can do when we work together as a community. I'm grateful that the university has such great partners in state and local government who've helped us make this Freedom Trail such a success to everyone in our area. I'd now like to welcome to the podium Sharon Bryant.
Good morning, everyone. Anne and our hearts are so full today to see all of our co-creators and collaborators who opened their door and let us in when we told them about our dream for this day. It's nice to be part of a university and a community that is so open-minded and willing to work together on a common goal. And so we're so grateful for that. We're thankful to have Dr. Baruch Whitehead and the Dorothy Cotton Jubilee Singers from Ithaca with us, and how they have continued to celebrate the spirituals that are such a rich part of our history. And again, we celebrate the spirit of kindness that has been in this room, how we have helped each other as we have gotten ourselves organized. As many of you know, poetry has become very important in my life. And this poem came to me when I was thinking about today's event. It's entitled, "It Only Takes One." It only takes one, spurred by the sail of her sisters, listening to the universe, following the North Star, wading through the reeds, buoyed by a band of strangers, hiding people with no names, seeking a life without boundaries. It only takes one, covered by the blood, willing to lead a march, calling for a boycott, harnessing the power of our wealth, keeping the dollars turning over and over before leaving our haven. It only takes one, given the quest for education from her mother, grandfather, great-grandmother, who never graduated from normal schools, inspired her to attend the real HU, teaching her students to take a stand for injustice, spreading the gospel onward, while her son finds his place in this legacy. It only takes one, perhaps a fifth grader among us, carrying the baton of social justice, rooted in a faith unseen, creating a beat with a twist, influenced by old for a new generation, under the watchful eyes of Harriet. Hope living on, never to be crushed.
Thank you, Sharon. It's wonderful. I'd now like to introduce Amanda Molina Ortiz.
Thank you. My name is Amanda. I am a doctoral candidate in the History Department at Binghamton University, and I worked with the Harriet Tubman Center in the development of this project. Today, we are here to receive Harriet Tubman, but we also wanted to share with you another element of this project. We produced an article which is forthcoming, titled "Seeking Freedom in Binghamton." You can see a preview of it on the screen. It constitutes the academic work behind the information you find in different markers in the stops of the trail. This research involves seeking, analyzing, and putting together primary and secondary sources that allowed us to identify key individuals and places in Binghamton and to situate the city's importance on the broader and complex networks of the Underground Railroad. Undergraduate and graduate students from different departments in Binghamton participated in different stages of this work. Our work builds on others who have been researching and preserving these primary sources and oral histories of the people and places who made Binghamton an important node in the Underground Railroad. We would like to recognize their crucial role, particularly Broome County historians like Gerald Smith and Roger Luther, Binghamton residents like Brenda K. Jones, Cindy and Sherman Wooden from the Center of Anti-Slavery Studies in Monroe, Pennsylvania. Thank you for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. And now I'd like to introduce the Chancellor of the State University of New York, John King.
Good morning, everybody. What a joyful and historic moment this is. So grateful to Ann Bailey for the honor of sharing this moment with all of you. Dr. Bailey is one of our SUNY Virginia Radley Fellows, an honor we established to give students and faculty the opportunity to study the role women have played in New York's history. And so I just want to appreciate Ann Bailey for her leadership and scholarship. Can we give her another round of applause? I am, of course, grateful to Governor Hochul and Secretary of State Mosley, to President Stenger and the Harriet Tubman Center Steering Committee, to the Mayor, Senator Webb, and Assemblywoman Lepardo, who are incredible champions for SUNY. I also want to appreciate Zoe Dufour for her incredible artistry. Her vision of Harriet Tubman ensures that this community here will honor Harriet Tubman's legacy and memory for years to come. I want to reflect on two things quickly this morning. First, a reflection on the legacy of Harriet Tubman. Why is she a timeless hero? And the answer to that, I believe, is simple. Without Harriet Tubman's courage, bravery, and perseverance in the face of the unfathomable cruelty of slavery, without her belief that the words of the Declaration of Independence must mean what they say, there would be no Bud Fowler, there would be no Martin Luther King Jr., and you and I may not be here today. But if you'll allow me, I'd also like to invite us to contemplate another important question. Why do we physically mark our history? A complicated history, painful history. Why did we all choose to come here this morning when so many of us are consumed by our to-do lists and the endless flow of troubling headlines to walk this trail and to bear witness to it? Because Ms. Dufour's statue on each of these 13 markers tells a true story of America becoming, a story some would still prefer not be told. A story that's rooted in the original sin of slavery, and with each seed planted by Harriet Tubman and Elias Hawley and Stephen Hand and millions of other brave, ordinary souls who fought for a better vision. Those roots, those seeds grew into a nation where in 3 generations, my family went from enslaved in rural Maryland to serving proudly in the cabinet of the first black president. Now, during the time I served in that role, I had the rare opportunity to unlock some of that family history. It led me, along with my wife and daughters, to the inside of a one-room log cabin in Maryland, not far from my family's home, where my ancestors had been held in bondage for generations. We were invited to tour the property by the Becker family, who still live in the main house of the plantation constructed in the 1700s and whose forebears owned mine. Now, over the years, through unusual circumstances, we have built a friendship with the Beckers. We Beckers and Kings have become friends. And through that, we've expressed an honest desire to explore our relationship and our shared past. And I'm so grateful to the Beckers for inviting us into relationship with them. But one conversation we had, which connects directly to today's event, was a conversation about Confederate monuments. Now, we were at brunch. It was in the midst of, just after the death of George Floyd and the national conversation about Black Lives Matter. And one of the Beckers, two sisters, expressed regret that a bronze statue that had been made of one of their ancestors who served in the Confederacy had been taken down. And they asked, what did I think about that? Now, the Beckers are truly nice people. Not only do they mean no harm, they actively wish our family well. And I know they believe they were honoring their ancestors for their military service, not the cause they were defending. And so 3 generations after their family had owned ours, it fell to us to explain that a Confederate statue should be taken down because of what it celebrates and glorifies. It fell to us to explain that so many of those statues were constructed not as memorials in the immediate aftermath of the Civil War, but as symbols of hostility to civil rights progress decades later. See, walking freedom trails, erecting statues, and marking our history is powerful precisely because such markers have been used to distort our history for so long. It matters, that's right, it matters that we take time to reflect on the legacy of Harriet Tubman, or that we walk the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, or visit the Smithsonian's African American History Museum in D.C. It matters because good, well-meaning, well-intentioned folks like the Beckers, living amongst the artifacts of the abomination of slavery, still believe Confederate statues are benign historical relics honoring our nation's veterans. It matters that we celebrate and admire beautiful artwork in Harriet Tubman and Martin Luther King's likeness, because today in schools across the country, teachers are tearing down these images from walls and removing books from the library about the civil rights movement because they're worried they're going to be demonized for being too DEI. And it matters that we not only mark our public history in all its truth, complexity, and pain by bearing witness, but by living out the legacy of Harriet Tubman and those honored on this trail in our lives each day. That means we must stand up and speak out when our children's schools erase parts of our American history and teach them half-truths about slavery. That means having those hard, uncomfortable conversations with people in our lives who've been taught to see our history through tinted lenses. That means never giving up even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient to say, we're going to still center diversity, equity, and inclusion in our institutions, even when those with power and big megaphones would prefer otherwise. Yes, Harriet Tubman was a hero of her time, but the question for us is, can we carry on her example, her unbreakable courage, her perseverance, her faith in the promise of justice? Can she remain forever a timeless hero? That is up to us. I'm proud to walk this trail and mark this history alongside you today, and proud to carry her torch forward with you always. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Secretary of State Walter Mosley. Walter?
Now, why did I have to follow the chancellor? When I came in here and I heard the choir, Dr. Stinger, I actually was crying. I had to just bow my head, say a prayer, and understand the task at hand. And understanding that, we know that this is more than just a piece of bronze edifice that's going up today. It matters a lot to so many here and those to come. To my colleagues in government, to Dr. Bailey and your staff, to my colleagues in the legislature, to our esteemed guests. Because you guys are sitting on the floor, because you're probably the only few that can probably have the dexterity to do so for over 2 hours. But I think it's also symbolic, because you are the seeds by which we're looking to see blossom to become our next chancellor, our next college president, our next senator, our next assembly member, our next professor, our next doctoral candidate. So it's really appropriate that you are on the floor, because you're being planted, and hopefully that statues like this will pour into you the things you need to have in an effort to move our country forward. So I'm going to go back on the task at hand. I want to say thank you again, Dr. Stinger, for having me. I just want to thank my staff for getting me here this morning. I was just here like a couple of weeks ago. We handed out a $10 million check to the city through our Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which is one of our 2 flagship economic development programs. And I want to thank Dr. Stinger for having the leadership, being a participatory component of that initiative. I also want to obviously thank our great esteemed Chancellor John King, one of our nation's most exceptional leaders in education, and someone we are just so blessed and fortunate to have at the helm, even during these difficult times. So we're just so fortunate and blessed to have him leading the way for our current students and faculty and our future students going forward. I also want to thank Dr. Bailey, an Associate Director of Tubman Center, who also served as a member of the New York State Commission on African American History. Now, I was the chair, as Dr. Singer said, of that commission, and it warms my heart to see Ms. Tubman being honored in such a spectacular way, but more importantly, in such a permanent way. As a member of the commission, I was proud to co-chair that, along with a shero of mine and the beloved vice chair, Dr. Hazel N. Dukes, who served as president, conference president to the NAACP for the state of New York. She would have been so proud to see what she's seeing today. And she would have been here, even in her 90s. So may she forever rest in power. At the commission, as many of you know, we were charged to travel across the state to listen to New Yorkers just like yourselves, to take in ideas and recommendations as to how we can honor our legacy and our history of African Americans and Black New Yorkers who made this state and this nation what it is. And Dr. Dukes made those trips, even in her advanced age. And she traveled, even in the midst of battling her sickness, because she believed so much in the mission. She told us that the lives that we're going to be touching will leave an indelible mark on their hearts and their minds of all those who have known of Harriet Tubman and those who will know Harriet Tubman. And though we lost a modern day shero and trailblazer, her approach to activism was both pragmatic, participatory, and principled. And her focus and her actions were planned rather in rhetoric, but in action. Now, she once said to us that we cannot move forward without knowing where we've been. And this will encourage future generations to honor the examples set by our ancestors. And that's what brings us here today. The work of the commission was a continuation of the realization of Governor Hochul's commitment to uplifting and recognizing the contributions of African Americans and Black New Yorkers. And in February of 2022, she announced the $400,000 grant she so noted in her remarks to the Tubman Center for Freedom and Equity right here at Binghamton University. After that announcement, for the very next month, she announced the formation of the commission, which was created to highlight the heroes and sheroes like Harriet Tubman, who was rooted in service and to others, to our state and to our nation. And last year we celebrated Juneteenth, and after traveling throughout the state, hearing from New Yorkers from all corners, the governor announced the completion of the commission's report. It was the first of its kind nationally, dealing with dozens of recommendations for investment in key areas such as education, community and economic development, arts and culture, and so much more. And on that same day, the governor announced a $16 million grant to support the development and implementation of our recommendations. So I'm proud of the progress we have made as a state and are making to right the wrongs of our past as we celebrate and preserve the history of our state's Black and African American communities for generations to come. And I want to thank the governor for her courage, her commitment, and her vision, even in the midst of these dark times. So I want to thank Governor for allowing us to be here. But I also want to finally congratulate our sculptor, Zoe, for a wonderful representation of Harriet Tubman. We were driving up and I told the staff, I said, I hope this doesn't look like Dwayne Wade's statue. But then they showed me a picture and it couldn't be any more symbolic and an accurate depiction of Harriet Tubman. Public arts like this can be a powerful force for change. It can be a powerful force for social equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I say that proudly. In addition to its tremendous contribution to a community's vibrancy, the spirit of Harriet Tubman's remarkable legacy will now have a permanent presence here in Binghamton to inspire students, residents, and visitors alike to stand up for what's right, never to give up in the face of challenge and adversity, and to make the possible possible. So on behalf of the Department of State, on behalf of the Commission, on behalf of the legacy of Hazel and Dukes, we just want to say thank you for this opportunity. And I want to say thank you to these fifth graders for the mantle that's going to be passed to you. And I hope and I pray that we've given you the tools to meet the challenge. May God bless you all.
Thank you, Secretary Mosley. I'd now like to introduce our Senator, Leah Webb.
I have to adjust this mic. Good morning, everyone. It's still morning, yes? Good morning. And what a beautiful morning it is. I want to give my deep, profound appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Ann Bailey and Dr. Sharon Bright and the entire team at the Harriet Tubman Center. Can we please give them a round of applause? So as I was sitting here listening to all of our speakers, me and someone on the party were saying, well, what are we going to say? And what came to mind for me is several things. One, I think it is important to just take this moment and just look around the room. Just take a quick moment, look around the room. And I know we're all sitting in various places in the room, but if you look at who is in the room, right? We all come to this space today through a variety of life experiences, not just simply how we got here physically in this building, but how we are still here. right? And so it is not lost on me in this moment that we are having this statue unveiling in a multitude of ways. One, it is Women's History Month. I'll say that again, it is Women's History Month, okay? We are doing this also here at Binghamton University, one of our prestigious higher educational institutions in our state and in our country. Yes. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a proud alum, but it is the truth. But where we are physically, if we're to take stock of not just this room, but right across the street is City Hall, which was a stop on the Underground Railroad. And if we go further to the left, going towards Court Street, right where the Freedom, where they have the Peacemaker stage, this is also a place where you will find Dr. Martin Luther King's statue, but this was also a place where the Ku Klux Klan would have rallies, okay? And so you fast forward to this moment we're in right now, where we continue to see changes happening, pushes to make us forget, and not just simply forget, to erase the contributions of women, of people of color, those who have been historically marginalized, their contributions that have made our collective progress even possible. And so the fact that we are doing this today, in this climate that we find ourselves in, and when I think about the spirit of Sister Harriet Tubman, as we were given a prompt, and the prompt was, Harriet Tubman was a hero of her time. She is a hero of all time. And so when you think about that legacy and what it takes to have or earn that title of hero, most heroes or sheroes don't set out to be that. They are called on assignment. They are driven by a spirit. They see an injustice somewhere, but know that there is an opposite. There has to be an opposite. And so when I think about the legacy of Harriet Tubman, not only was she courageous, not only was she brilliant, she was a visionary. Because how can you know that the actions that you take, you don't know if you would even live through the day, let alone the next day. But she was a visionary. She was also an organizer, because she brought people together, even amongst moments of doubt that was well justified. And so bringing it to today, it is my hope, and most certainly a collective call to action for every one of us that's in this room, to ensure that we remind ourselves that erasure is not an option. It is not an option, but in fact, empowerment is the solution, and we are empowered through education. We are empowered through education, because that is the only way. Thank you. That is the only way that we all can truly experience what we all share, and that is humanity. And so I want us all to remember that we all are on assignment. And so as a true organizer myself, I would be remiss in this moment if I didn't give us a call to action. And before I do that, I would be remiss if I also didn't continue in my appreciation to Zoe, to my colleagues in state government, to Dr. Harvey Stanger and the entire team at Binghamton University. It is tough to be in leadership, especially now, but it always has been that way. But it's tough when you are doing it for the right reasons, when you're doing it to do something and not to be somebody. And so I want to give a nod to every single one of you who are here, whether it's my partners in government and education, but all of us here have been called for this moment in time and for a bigger purpose. And so as I take my seat, as they say in some circles, I want us all to call the spirit of Sister Harriet Tubman by repeating after me. Can we do that? Yes. All right. So, I am on assignment. I am on assignment. I will continue the legacy. I will continue the legacy of Harriet Tubman. I am on assignment. I am on assignment. I will continue the legacy of Harriet Tubman. One last time with spirit, and I want everyone who's outside of this building to hear you. So let's say this again. I am on assignment. I am on assignment. I will continue the legacy of Harriet Tubman. Thank you all so much.
I'd like to introduce Assemblywoman Donna Lepardo.
All right, well, I've got a tough assignment, really tough now. Thank you so very much. Thank you, President Stenger. Thank you all for inviting me to say a few words on this truly historic occasion. We go to many events, and this one is different. When I say this is a historic occasion, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I feel it from the very first moment we got here to all of the speeches. Thank you, Chancellor King, for being here and for that mic drop speech. It was very, very moving. Your personal story has touched me deeply. Thank you, Secretary of State Mosley, and thank you for reminding us of Mother Dukes. She was very important in my life. She had some words for me over the years that were very influential. And I can't thank Ann Bailey and the team, Sharon Bryant, for the vision that has come to life through this Downtown Freedom Trail that now includes this extraordinary statue by Zoe Dufour that will be revealed today. I was also given the assignment to talk about how Harriet Tubman is a timeless hero. So the first marker that you see on the trail mentions that Harriet Tubman was a hero for her time and for all time. And so she is indeed a timeless hero. Timeless because her actions, values, and impact transcend time. Timeless because she continues to inspire and resonate with people across generations and cultures, making her an enduring symbol of courage and goodness. Timeless because her life story is a powerful example of determination and resilience in the face of adversity, inspiring people to stand up for what is right. Harriet Tubman carried a lantern to light the way as she led slaves to freedom. Her lantern now serves as a timeless symbol of strength and hope to all who are overcoming their own challenges. Harriet Tubman is truly a timeless hero, someone we need now more than ever to help us keep hope alive. May we remember and be inspired by her lantern, by the light that will bring us all to a better place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assemblywoman. Thank you, Assemblywoman. Now I'd like to introduce our mayor, Jared Cram.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Stenger. What an unbelievable occasion this is in the city of Binghamton. Today is a historic day, but the days that will follow where residents of the city, visitors to our community, visit this Tubman statue and walk our Freedom Trail, those will be historic moments as well. And I got thinking about when the conversations first started around this Freedom Trail and statue. It was so long ago we still had to do meetings via Zoom, if you can imagine that. I remember Dr. Bailey and I talking, and at the time she was receiving some national recognition and praise for research on the site of slave auctions. And in so many words, the headline of the New York Times was, "Human beings were sold here." Think about that. These topics we deal with are incredibly heavy. These histories are sometimes uncomfortable to face, but it is so important that we face them. Binghamton's role, sometimes on the wrong side of history, as it relates to the civil rights movement, Black history, has to be acknowledged as well. But today we are taking an important step to write the course of history, to make sure that everyone knows, whether you're a student in 5th grade at Woodrow Wilson or a longtime resident, that heroes lived here, heroes like Harriet Tubman had an impact on our future, and that we have a physical manifestation of her in our community. Zoe, congratulations on such a fitting tribute to Harriet Tubman. It is bold, it is fierce, and it is exactly what the city of Binghamton needed to honor Harriet Tubman. Thank you. And as we walk the Freedom Trail, as we celebrate today's announcement, it is so important that we have to continue this story for future generations. History is only a generation away from being forgotten forever. And if we don't cultivate it, if we don't celebrate the good, the bad, and the heroes of history, they may be lost forever. And so having these physical statues, these monuments, this Freedom Trail will ensure that it can't be erased, right? It can't be forgotten. It can't be glossed over. They are here, and I know that today's statue is just the beginning of a great partnership between the city and the Tubman Center to expand the Freedom Trail, to grow it, to cultivate it, and to make sure that every generation of Binghamton student, every visitor that comes to our community has a place to go, has a place to learn this history. And as mayor, I could not be more prouder that we're unveiling this Tubman statue today. Thank you to Binghamton University, all of the speakers today, and to Dr. Bailey and Dr. Bryant. You are the modern day heroes of American history. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Now I'd like to ask two of our doctoral candidates, Baba Anand and Victor Cruz, to read a statement from the Tubman family.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here as a proud Binghamton alum, continuing the work of the Harriet Tubman Center, something I'm so passionate about.
I am a doctoral candidate in the history department in Binghamton University, and I'm fortunate enough to have the guidance of Dr. Ann Bailey as my advisor.
I am a doctoral student at Stony Brook University, and again, I'm so excited that I could continue the work of my alma mater and see the work through. And so today, I'm so excited and honored to share some quotes and statements from the family who is so supportive and grateful for the celebration that is occurring today. And so from great-great-grandniece Judith Gladys Bryant, thank you for the invitation to participate in your unveiling ceremony this morning. I regret that I am unable to join you in person, but I am happy and proud to share some reflections of her family members. Harriet Tubman is without question an internationally celebrated symbol of courage and bravery in her quest for freedom for herself and her family. Buried with full military honors in Auburn, New York in 1913, a special year if you know, Harriet Tubman was recognized as a hero in her own time. And from great-great-grandniece Wendy Brown Ore of Canada, she is my heroine because she listened to the voice of God in her life, even when it didn't make sense, when she would backtrack without knowing why, only later to find that a trap and an ambush lay ahead. She knew in her heart that a way had been opened. She made her impossible treks repeatedly, miraculously, and uncaught and unharmed.
Finally, I'm going to be sharing a statement from Max Henry Fraser, a great-great-great-grandnephew of Harriet Ross Tubman, descended from her brother John Stewart. And he says, Harriet Tubman's legacy is deeply personal to our family, not just as an icon of freedom and justice, but as our own ancestor. Her courage, sacrifice, and relentless pursuit of equality has been a source of strength and pride for generations of our family. In a time when racism and division are once again on the rise, her life's work feels more urgent than ever. She risks everything to bring her family and others to freedom, and her spirit compels us to continue that fight today. Honoring her now is not just about remembering the past. It is a call to action for the present and the future. May this statue stand as a reminder that the fight for justice is never over, and that like her, we must never back down. Thank you.
And I'm very proud to introduce the next speaker, Zoe Dufour.
I'm not sure I have too much to add that hasn't been so eloquently stated before. I'm more of a visual communicator than a verbal one. But I'm so honored to have been part of this project that was made possible by this exceptional group of people. Bringing this monument of Harriet Tubman to Binghamton feels especially relevant now. As said before, her story transcends time and is a reminder to hold hope hand in hand with action. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished and what this monument represents. I hope Harriet Tubman will be a destination and a touchstone for the Binghamton community and for those who want to walk the Freedom Trail. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're next, Ann. Ann Bailey.
Wow, this is the hard part. And I'm feeling sorry for you because I'm used to 3-hour classes. By the second hour, I'm just getting started. No, but the good news is I've lost my notes somewhere, so I will be brief. I just want to say an unbelievable thank you. And I'm going to do that at the end of this presentation as well. But obviously, Dr. and President Harvey Stenger, our partner, we consider you a partner with us at the Harriet Tubman Center. Yes, you're the president of the university and you have so many, many responsibilities, but you have truly partnered with us on this effort. And we thank you. And clearly, the Governor Hochul, who came in with that magical grant to enable us to do this at such a great level. And thank you, Secretary Mosley, for sharing not only on her behalf, but also on behalf of the African American Commission, the role that this work will play. And also, need I say, the SUNY Chancellor, our fearless leader. It is very hard to follow him, very hard to follow him. I think he said so much. And likewise, our state senator, our assemblywoman, Mayor Cram. I don't want to forget anyone. Obviously, Dr. Bryant, with whom I work so closely, my partner, and Zoe Dufour. And I think Zoe's work speaks for itself, so I'm going to let it speak for itself when we go outside in just a couple minutes. Let me just say this very briefly for anyone who doesn't know. So I am Ann Bailey, and in addition to being the director of the Harriet Tubman Center for Freedom and Equity, I'm a professor of history in the history department. And I want to acknowledge that Dr. Nate Andrade is my chair. He's been very supportive. And there's several of my colleagues here who also have been supportive. I teach African American, and Caribbean history. And this trail fits right in my academic wheelhouse, if you will. But this is not just an academic exercise for me, as I'm sure it's the same for you. This is also personal. Why have I, with Dr. Bryant and the Harriet Tubman team, why have we been doing this work for 4 years? It's personal. I feel an incredible debt. And I mean a debt to people like Harriet Tubman and the other group of multicultural heroes on this trail, who to me are real heroes. What they did, their sacrifices, their fearlessness, the actions that they took, that's what's made my life possible. I would not have the life that I have. My family would not have the life that we have without their actions. I'm an immigrant from Jamaica. I'm a longtime American citizen, but my family was not here during this period of slavery. They were there in the period of slavery. My family was not here during the civil rights movement. So those who worked towards our freedom and equity in the past, those of us here, all of us here, are literally standing on their shoulders. And every benefit that we have, and we are a multicultural group of people right here, look around you, we are thus because of what they did and their sacrifices. And I'm every day aware of that, every day. There's not a day that I don't think about that. So that's one, I feel a sense of debt, but I also feel very connected to the vision of a Harriet Tubman, which I think extends backward to the vision of Thomas Jefferson, as our chancellor connected the dots for us. Thomas Jefferson, with that document, all men are created equal. And it's a groundbreaking document that around the world, people have followed or endeavored to follow. And the irony is that it really represented our ideals. It really wasn't a fact and a reality at the time. But what great ideals to live up to. What a great vision to envision. And Thomas Jefferson gave us that, and I'll always be grateful for that. But people like Harriet Tubman and Elias Hawley and Stephen Hand and the others on this trail, they helped to make it a reality. And so that's exciting to me, this idea of vision that extends backward and extends forward. And finally, I want to say, I'm going to ask that there's under my chair, I need three volunteers. Oh, one. I need two more. In the back? Yes. And the young lady? I need you lined up. One here. You're here. I like this. They're not nervous. One here. One here. No, right here. And turn this way, like me. Right here. Like this. Turn this way. And they didn't know they were going to do this. One here. Back up just a little bit. Just a little bit. There you go. How does it go? You get in the front. You see what we're about to do? I mentioned to you that I was from Jamaica. Did I mention that? And that's one of my heroes, Usain Bolt, living hero. And if young people, if you don't know him, you'll look him up. And this is him in the 2008 Olympics. And I'm so bad at sports, I'm not sure where the relay starts. Does it start here? Where does it start? It starts in front. Okay, it starts in front. And then you pass it back. We didn't rehearse this. And then you pass it back. There you go. And then you pass it back. This is a symbol. Thank you. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. You may be seated. You may be seated. You may be seated. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's just a practical demonstration of what has been said here today, that you have to keep passing that baton. You have to keep passing it from one generation to the next. You have to. It's imperative that we do. It can't stay in the past. We have to keep going forward, not backward. And that was the vision, I think, of Harriet Tubman and many others that we're so grateful for. So thank you again. And I think now I'm going to turn to try to find an original way to say thank you. And there's so many people to thank that I've just done it like a movie credit. And they're just going to keep rolling, and they're just going to keep rolling, and they're just keep rolling, and they'll just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. Thank you very much. We'll see you outside. So without further ado, I'd like to just briefly introduce you to a Harriet Tubman descendant who is here as a visitor, visiting us today. Her name is Michelle Galvin. I am going to bring her back in the fall to do a whole presentation on the book that she wrote on Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
But for now, I just wanted her to greet you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Is this correct? You're good. Lean it. You're good. Lean it. Ah, here we go. Okay, thank you so very much. I won't take up too much of your time. I did want to at least say a word thanking each and every one of you for being here in this beautiful tribute to Aunt Harriet. I am a great-great-great-grandniece of Harriet Tubman. We claim Auburn, New York as our ancestral home. We live in Syracuse, and may I also introduce my sister Adrienne Jones-Roderick. I won't say too much more other than the fact that Aunt Harriet would be so proud to know that each and every one of you not only admire her, but love her. Family was so important to her. Faith, family, fortitude, and freedom. And with that, I will say goodbye for now and hope to see you again next semester.
We will close with, I'm going to introduce yourself, a poem for Harriet Tubman.
Hello, good afternoon. Happy to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Bailey, for the invitation. I'm also a Binghamton alum, former employee as well. Today I will be doing a poem by Sonia Sanchez called A Haiku and Tanka for Harriet Tubman. Picture a woman riding thunder on legs of slavery. Picture her kissing our spines, saying no to the eyes of slavery. Picture her rotating the earth into a shape of lives becoming. Picture her leaning into the eyes of our birth clouds. Picture this woman saying no to the constant yes of slavery. Picture a woman jumping rivers, legs inhaling moons. Picture her ripe with seasons. Picture her tasting the secret corners of woods. Picture her saying, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Imagine her words. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Imagine her saying, I freed 1,000 slaves, could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Imagine her humming, how many days we got before we taste freedom. Imagine a woman asking, how many workers for this freedom quilt? Picture her saying, a live runaway could do great harm by going back, but a dead runaway could tell no secrets. Picture the daylight bringing her to woods full of birth moons. Picture John Brown shaking her hands 3 times saying, General Tubman, General Tubman, General Tubman. Picture her words. There's 2 things I got a right to, death or liberty. Picture her saying no to a play called Uncle Tom's Cabin. I am the real thing. Picture a black woman could not read or write, trailing freedom refrains. Picture her face turning southward, walking down a southern road. Picture this woman freedom-bound, tasting a people's preserved breath. Picture this woman of royalty, wearing a crown of morning air. Picture her walking, running, reviving a country's breath. Picture black voices leaving behind lost tongues.
That was Kiana Watson, therapist and local actress, and also a BU alum. We're really grateful for that. And without further ado, we are going to unveil Zoe Dufour's Harriet Tubman, Leading the Way to Freedom.